Hi everybody, welcome to Paper Wishes Vlog. I'm Lene Gehrig, and today I've got this great collection from our friends at Apple Blossom. This is the Bokeh Butterfly and Blossoms and Bokeh Firework Flowers collection. And if you're not familiar with what bokeh is, it's a photography technique, and I'm sure you've seen it many times, but now we're using it for card making backgrounds. So this is an example of just like a city street with lights on it that have been blurred a little bit, so you're getting these little shiny orbs, and here it is in nature where you're seeing these little golden yellow orbs. We're going to start to show you today how to use that as a card making background, and it's really fun and easy to do with this collection. So this collection includes special sentiment stamps that works with both of these different stamp and stencil sets. So this is the Butterfly Blooms stamps. This one is the Bokeh Butterfly Blooms stencil. This is the Bokeh Fireworks stamp, and it's got cute little dandelions on there and leaves and circles. And this is the coordinating firework flower stencils. So let's get right to it. I'm going to show you an example. We can zoom in a little bit, Steve. So this is an example of what this technique would look like with these white orbs in your background. And it's really easy to achieve using the stamps and the stencils. So for this particular card, for the background paper here with the black, I used both the gingham paper pack #1. It has this great black and white gingham in there, and I used the larger check size. And here we have also the coordinating cardstock, and I just used the black cardstock from that. And then I created my background using, and I'm going to demonstrate this too, but I used both purple and black ink. I like to use the ombre ink pads. I didn't use them for their ombre purpose, which is 3 different shades of ink in one. But I found that when creating this sort of purple and pink background, it was great to have this nice little collection of pink colors, so I could choose the shade I wanted. So that was nice. And then once I got my pink and my purple down, then I used some white ink and little dauber applicator, which we are getting these back in at Paper Wishes. Paulette is ordering those for us. Be looking out for that. And that created my white background using the stencil. And then I used the stamp, and then once that dried and everything, I used the stamp and the Tuxedo Black Memento ink pad. And of course, I love using my Misty stamping platform. That was great to use. And I added the greeting here. If flowers were friends, I'd pick you. Cut the paper down, matted it with that black cardstock, and then wrapped it with just a little bit of purple jute twine and tied a little bow here. So pretty easy to put together. I'm going to show you another couple of examples of how to use these orbs and these circles, and then we're going to go through it together so you know exactly how this works. All right, so here's another example. For this one, I did it right on the face of a card here. This is a 5 by 6.5 card, as was the first one. And the first thing I did was just take some low tack tape. I like this Hunky Dory low tack tape. You could use washi tape, whatever you have, and just took a strip of that, get it going here. And I just put it at the top and the bottom like this. And then I used a couple of shades of green. I used my, this one is the Prism Apple Green. And then I also added, where did it go? Here we go. This is some Laguna. This is a water reactive ink, but I just used it for the sort of teal color instead of the water reactive part. And that created my background strip. Okay, so then I just removed that tape, and I had this nice little rectangle going across. It was nice and clean. And then I used the stamps that were, for the first one, I used the stencil to make my little orbs and things like that on this card. And for this one, I used the stamps and also the stencil. You could see here that it has like this little broken line circle right here. So I did that using both the apple green and the olive green. And then I did the little orbs here using the stamp using the Lagoon. And I used my applicator brushes. If you don't have these, they come in a set of 3. They're great for all your inking projects. And that was really nice to just be able to move that around, and then used a little white ink on that, and then added some little sparklets. These are Winter's Evergreen. So after I got done stamping and my little greeting, I added these little Winter Evergreen sparklets for just some extra little sparkle and some little orbs there. All right, so for this one, I wanted to use these leaves that were here on this collection and to use larger greetings. So once again, stamped on a slimline card, which if you're not familiar with slimline, they're really popular right now. They're 8.5 by 3.5 inch wide, and you can buy them in, I think, sets of 10 Paper Wishes. They come with a coordinating envelope, so you don't have to try to source that. And for this one, I used my stamping platform, used the stamps here, and just turned my stamp and just applied a different color ink. Used these same 2 colors here, and then also added the Evergreen ink pad for the darker shades. And I just kept turning, lifting off my stamp, and then replacing it on the platform, going all the way across. And then I used the Memento Tuxedo Black again to stamp the greeting and then the leaves, and then went back to that jute twine and wrapped a little bit around the inside of the card and tied it here to use 2 shades of green on that. And that was really simple to put together too. So let's get right to it. Now I'm going to show you how this works. Okay, so this card, for this one I used a 6x6 card from Hunky Dory, and they come with a matching envelope in them. They're already set to go here. And then for my background, I used Dotted Duos #1 in this great orange color, and I used the larger dots right here. So that's what I covered my card with. And then I just used a piece of cardstock, cut that down a little bit smaller than 6x6. So this is probably a good 5.5 inch square. I've already started this a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and get my craft mat out here. All right, so we're going to do the background first. And I've got my yellow. So for this I used canary yellow. And one of my brushes here. And then just try to do it in 3 different areas, like that. And then I'm going to move on to some orange. So this is the ombre ink pad again, with the orange colors in it. It's got 3 shades of orange. And I just blotted that just over the top 2 ones because I wanted this to be kind of a darker shade. And I'm just going to be going around the yellow, just filling in all the spots that I didn't get yellow on there. Right, and so once I've got that background done, then we're going to start adding the white bokeh effect. Here we go. So you really want to get that sort of mottled colors. All right, that's that there. I'm going to get one of my wipes here to wipe off my brush. I always like to do that right away, and then I take them and I clean them with soap and water afterwards. But I don't ever want to pick up a brush off my table that already has color on it because I'll use it. I'll try to use it with green or something and it'll have orange on it. All right, so once we get to that point, we're going to use some white ink. What white ink do we use? I like using the StazOn Cotton White. It's an opaque ink, so you can control it. It's not, you can get, by using a little bit of it, you can make it more translucent, and it comes opaque right out of the chute, so it's not hard to achieve that look. So the first thing we're going to do is, and I also like that it comes with a refill bottle and a nice little cover there. Now it is a permanent ink, so when we're using this with, say, our stencil, Let's see, which one shall we use? Here we go. So I'm going to be using the butterfly stencil here. When we're using it with this, the ink is going to dry on there and be really hard to get off unless you just use Stays On Remover, and then it cleans up really nicely. So as I said, I really like that I can just apply ink to it if it starts getting dry. It even has a little applicator where I can just smooth that out. So I have Stays On ink pads that are just, I've had forever, it seems like. So they last a really long time. And then I'm going to use my little dauber. Okay, and then we're just going to use these circles right here. And we're going to do some of them off the edge. Oops, some of them off the edge. You could use some stencil spray, removable stencil spray on the back of this. But I've found that I'm moving it around so much that that just became cumbersome, and I just really didn't have a problem with getting ink under these. So you could always use a little bit of tape, of your tape to stick it down to keep it from moving a little bit, and it's easier to reposition. So we'll just put that right there. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is do some that are really, really solid, really solid looking circles. And some that are not, that are a little more translucent. And I need to get some more ink on my ink pad. I haven't used this one in a while. All right, let's do this for real. There we go. Much better. Okay, and what's nice about using the dauber too is that, you know, you can always just add a few more circles that look like that right on the surface of your card once you're working on it. All right, so we're going to do this one too. Then we're going to lift that off. Okay, and you're going to see we've got some orbs on there. So now we're going to add this on again, and we're just going to kind of keep turning it as we go. Adding more and more. And we're just going to take a little pause, and when we come back, you'll see how that has turned out. Okay, I'll just finish this and then we can start again. Okay, so we're back and got a finished background here. So as you can see, I just went ahead and just moved my stencil around, making some of the orbs more opaque, more dark, and some of them very light. I also took this part of the stencil where it has the broken lines and added those around, and then I just heated it a little bit with my heat gun because we are moving on so quickly. But you could just let it dry for an hour or so. Make sure that ink is nice and dry, because now we're going to do a little bit more stenciling on here. So we're going to take some of the orange inks again, and our little dauber, and we're going to add this little stem right here. Put that right about there. And we're just going to add a little bit of orange right in there to get our stem. And then let's pick, which one did I use here? Let's do this one, I guess. At the top of the stem, we're gonna add, now for this dandelion, it has little butterflies on it, which is so cute. And I found that the dauber works very nicely. First I just went around and got all of the big pieces, got the center here. Get all those butterflies first, And then I concentrate on the lines afterwards. And the lines are just a little trickier because they are so thin. They're like that stem, so you just need to focus on them a little bit more. Make sure that the ink connects inside of those lines. Make sure you get those little flower blossoms. All right, see if that's good. There we go. All right, so then after you do that part, we're going to do this little butterfly, cascade of butterflies. We're going to put that right about there. And I'm going to fill in just with regular orange first, sort of like a medium orange. And then we're going to hit that with a little bit of Chinese red because we want to make sure we get some vivid parts to that. And then when that's dry and the ink is all set, then I like to get add a little bit of Gold Stickles glitter glue on that. Right, so now I'm going to add a little bit of the Chinese red over that, kind of in the center of that. All right. There we go. All right, now I'm going to talk about this beautiful butterfly right here. So here's our, here's the little stickles. So for the stickles, I just did little dots, like 3, 4 dots, 2 dots, 2 to 4. On all the butterflies. Some of them had 1 to 4 dots. All right, and now butterfly. All right, so for my butterfly, I just went ahead and stamped that on a little scrap piece of white cardstock using this Wow embossing pad, clear embossing. So it's just a clear ink pad. Then we've got gold super fine embossing powder, sprinkled that over the top, tapped off that excess, and then heated that with the heat gun. So it's now this beautiful gold embossing. Then I'm going to color that with some tri-blend markers from Spectrum Noir. I've got the orange blend and the light yellow blend. So what I did is I took the light yellow blend, the medium one, and if you're not familiar with these, they have a light pen, a medium pen, and a dark pen of all that same color scheme, so it makes them really, really easy to blend. So I'm just quickly coloring between all these little leaves. And this butterfly, I'm just going to do one wing here, has these great flowers and leaves on here. So now we're going to do the flowers. So for the orange blend, I'm going to start off with the lightest, sure I got it, yeah, the lightest shade, coloring that in. And then I'm going to add some of the darkest color around the center, and then we're going to blend that in. Okay. Now we're going to put some of that dark, it's almost red, around the center of those flowers. I'm going to go back to that light, and I'm just going to blend that into the rest of the flower there. And then for the centers, even though I'm going to add a little dot of gold glitter glue to the center, I like to go ahead and color that in with that yellow, just in case the glitter glue dries a little thin. You're still good. That right there. The body part I did with the lightest yellow, lightest color first of the orange, and back excuse me, to the darkest color right about there, and then just blended that, the light one. All right, so then took my little scissors, waited till of course all of my little glitter glue was dried off. all colored and everything. And then I just went around and I left a little bit of a white edge. Didn't try to get right up next to that gold or into that gold, just left a little bit of a white edge. And then when I got to the antenna, or antennae maybe, I just cut around them, also leaving a little thin white edge. Let's get rid of that. You'll notice when I cut, I leave my scissors in the same place, and then I just turn my paper. And I also like to cut with what we call the jaws of the scissors down below and not really up into the tip. The tip is where, if you start snipping like this and doing this, that's where you get little jagged looking cuts. So it's better to use the middle or the back of the scissors, I find. Cut off all your excess as you go. All right, so you get the idea there. And then what I ended up doing was just folding these a little bit, putting glue just on the body, and then adding a little bit of foam tape. I just took a little foam tape square and put one under each wing so that it has a little bit of movement there. Before I glued that down, I did my little butterfly wishes greeting there in that dark orange. All right, so there you have it. This is a great collection. It's fun. It's a different look, which I love. Different backgrounds. It's easy. If you want to check out our money saver today, if you're watching us on our Paper Wishes vlog page, it's on the right-hand side. It says money saver. There's a photo of it. Just click on that. And all the supplies that I've used here today are listed on the drop-down menu below the video. There's also a photo gallery where you can see all of these cards up close, click on them, get the supply lists that we used. If you're watching us on YouTube, then if you look in the description box below the video, there's a link that will take you directly to the Paper Wishes vlog page so you can see everything I just described. Check out that money saver on the right-hand side of the screen. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. We do 4 videos a week. And we try to teach you techniques and show you new product. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.